Here's my painting and recording setup for today.
So I'm going to paint this scene from a recent trip to Iceland. And I do tone my canvas all the time. I did some yellow and red here, kind of between the sky and the mountain, just for fun. I don't always use these colors, I change it up. And I've kind of eyeballed a little grid here. I don't have it on the picture, but I do have it right here, just to like keep me aware of certain spots rather than following any sort of real specific drawing, because I'm gonna figure this out as I go along. But I always do start with a drawing. So I've got a little burnt sienna, and here we go.
So I really do want to keep my drawings loose, my landscapes. I mean, if I'm doing some urban city scene with a lot of sharp angles and perspective, I would take more time and make it much more precise. But landscape, I'm just going with the organic nature of the subject here and keeping my lines pretty loose and simple, just to give me some direction, just a little bit of a roadmap.
So I've blocked in some of my darks here in the mountain using this little brush. It's a 4. And my goal right now is to cover the canvas with paint, even though I did do that here. That helps me get started with that. So now I'm going to come in with my first layer of color to cover this all up. So I'm going to get myself a bigger brush here and do some of these greens in the mountain. Let's see. That's okay. Maybe too warm. I don't know. I might put that over here instead. Usually I keep a pretty limited color palette, but I do have some colors that I will use just because people have given them to me or something like that. And this is one of those, I almost never use this, but this Terre Verte. It's a real gray green. So I'm gonna use some of that. I think it'll be nice over here. Let's see, that's better. And I just mixed a little ultramarine blue and white with it. Let's see here. And I'm using my brush strokes to help me define the slope of this mountain. Let's get it in there real quick.
Now that I've got those greens in there, I'm coming in on this mid-mountain with a grayish blue. Now it's time to add some of my snow, and please forgive me for not understanding how to set this camera so that it would just focus on the canvas and not keep going from my hand. I'm losing track of my road here, and so I took the edge of my brush and put that in lightly to remind myself where it is, and I'll probably cover it up again, reveal it again, cover, back and forth, back and forth. That's a big part of it all. Back and forth, back and forth.
So now let's do some sky. Now I've kind of blocked in most of this here. And I know, for example, these are too dark, this snow over here. I'm gonna get there. It's kind of a placeholder right now. And there's gonna be, I'm gonna lighten up some things around here too. But I know in general, most of my sky is lighter than this very shadowy foreground and midground. And especially, you can see right up here is our brightest bit. And this is gonna be a real exciting moment of contrast there between light and dark. But we'll just get started here. And I'm gonna do pretty color, but it's not exactly what I'm going for. I don't know about that. Let's see. I do want to get it dark up here, that's for sure.
So I've blocked in a little bit of the clouds with a warm white, very lightly, because I still want some of that warm yellow to come through those clouds too. And now I'm going around them with my blue, and you'll see the blue, it's darker at the top, and I'm making it lighter as I come down the sky.
Okay, canvas covered. Take a pause here. Do a little self-reflection. So I've come back to this painting, day 2. It's always nice to walk away, come back with some fresh eyes. And what I'm gonna look at now, after I've got this first layer of paint covering the canvas, is my values, my edges. We'll start there. And to really get a feel for my getting the correct values here, I've got my color eliminator glasses. Red and green filters, get rid of the color and just leave the lights and the darks. I know that the front part of this is in shadow, the foreground here, and most of the middle ground. The sun's coming up over here. However, I know that at my first pass, I haven't gotten the values quite right. Can you see? Oh yeah, here is my reference photo over here. And what I'm gonna do is put on my glasses, look at my reference photo, look here, do a little comparison. Is that kind of working? So I can see right away that my snow is too dark. I've got to lighten that up a bit. My sky is in pretty good shape. I'll accentuate my brights later on, but it's in pretty good shape right now. My foreground is too. Can lighten up the lake a little bit and some of the foggy sky back here. So that's what I'll work on now.
So this part would have been very fun to watch, except that my big dumb head was in front of the camera. But you can see that I am darkening my darks, lightening my lights, and reinforcing some really important lines. And here I'm adding a few more of the little snow bits to make it a little more interesting and a little more realistic. So it's time here to focus on the background again and get it as bright as it needs to be. I'm also going to take this opportunity to carve into that far mountain a little bit more. I'm using my sky color there. And I'll come back toward the end and soften that line also. So I'm going to do the same thing with my sky color to try and shape this line that marks the edge of this mid mountain. Yep, I gotta smooth that out a bit and cut into it. Now I'm going to bring in some of that bright turquoise that I can see in the low bit of the sky. That's going to be a nice transition from this foggy white that I have above the mountain line up into the rest of the sky. Always painting on the edges. I'm going to keep that same energy with my brush strokes as I merge this turquoise up into the rest of the sky. I like that kind of radiating brush strokes out of the corner of the mountain. Now it's time for me to come back in and reinforce some of these bright clouds that I had started yesterday. These marks I had put in kind of serve as a placeholder, and also, wispy layers too to these type of clouds. And I've got myself a very warm white. It's the warmth of it, I liken it to mayonnaise, and I like to have some warmth in the clouds on a sunny day like this. It's also why I tone the sky portion of a sunny day with that yellow to get just some hints of that warmth in the sky. Just keeping my brushwork really loose, obviously, and still using my brush strokes to show some direction here and some of those radiating lines. Okay, took a step back, sat in my chair, the chair, stared, left the room, came back, and here are the things that I did. I put some more shadow up here in the top of this bit of a bowl at the top of the mountain, and added some more details and redefined some lines up in the snow here too. I did lighten up my foreground here and my way background here. I softened some lines, softened some edges. I came in and added a little more detail here and some texture. It's in the foreground, why not? And I had to reestablish my road line because I'd painted over that quite a bit. I did put some of the dividing lines in the highway there just to reinforce the direction that our eye is going. I did reinforce some of these darks over here to show the cliff. And I think that's about it for right now. So I'm gonna call this finished for now. Never know. But I like to think about a quote about finishing that I'm pretty sure Richard Diebenkorn said. Someone asked him, how do you know when a painting is finished? And he said, when there's nothing more to say. And that's how I feel right now. I think I've gotten my words across here. There's nothing more to say.